Hello everyone. I decided to do a beard tutorial since I can't do anybody's beards, and it's about 9:30 at night, and I'm in the salon, which is all closed up and spotless, by the way, since nobody's been here for several days. So I invite you to have some whiskey with me and go over your beard. So, as you can see, I haven't done my beard in a while. I actually have decided to grow it out throughout the course of this quarantine isolation, but that doesn't mean A, it shouldn't be shaped up so that it looks better. So that way when I look at myself in the mirror every morning, I don't hate how I look. But a lot of the techniques that I'm using or showing you today, you can use on various beard lengths. Most important, well, one thing that I want to talk about is tools. So do not use beard trimmers. They're usually cheap and flimsy. The blade on them is usually really weak, and the teeth themselves are only spaced so far apart. So if you have coarse hair like mine, it'll actually just sort of chew the hair apart and fray it. So having like an actual clipper with an adjustable arm and guards, very, very important. If you need any advice on what tools to buy, I can absolutely let you know. And a trimmer, like an actual trimmer. This one's super fancy, not entirely necessary, but this kind of has a blade that most beard trimmers do, but the blade itself is a lot more durable than you're gonna find on like a $30 all-in-one, $50 all-in-one. Those things aren't actually cheap. They're actually just as expensive as like professional tools. They just suck. So like I said, I'm actually intending on getting my beard to grow a little bit more, and I haven't actually touched it in a long while, and it looks absolutely disgusting. But what we're gonna do, and what we kind of do with all beards at every different length, especially when people come in and see me, we're gonna think about it in different zones. We have the mustache zone that we'll focus on. We have the temple to the jawline, so these parts. And then we have here, so basically from the neck to the chin. Those are the primary zones that we're actually going to focus on. Everything in between is just kind of touching up and adjusting. So let's go ahead and start with the mustache, just so I can stop eating it a little bit right now. I actually am still intending on growing a handlebar here eventually, but for the purposes of this little tutorial, quarantine tutorial, I'm gonna go ahead and trim it. Cheers. That's where the little trimmer is gonna come and play. You can use the clipper, but this is a lot easier. For longer lengths, or just in general, like the mustache is actually super easy, but get rid of that. All you want to do is brush your mustache inward, and it really does not matter how long your mustache is or how long you're keeping it. Always just bring it in inward, like that. Take your trimmer. And go from the corner of the mouth inward. Cutting up as high as you want it to go. You can go all the way to the lip line if that's what you're going for. That's a lot shorter than what I'm going for, but we'll find like a happy medium in here somewhere. Come over here. Now, one thing that I'm doing is I'm angling the clipper up, sort of like towards my nose. as you can see, it goes that way, as if it's going into my brain, sort of. And what that's doing is sort of preventing you from getting too much of a broom shape on your mustache. Okay, so once you've done that, because everything was combed in, now when you comb it back out, it has a nice soft taper. Nothing is too stiff and broom-like. That's one of the things that you really want to avoid with a mustache, is that you don't get too broom-like. Kind of regardless of how long you are keeping the mustache, I usually don't cut up into the mustache itself. I don't take clippers and cut it down. Generally speaking, at the shortest, what I'll do is I'll just sort of like cut to the line, the lip line, and sort of leave it at that. Your mustache can tend to look a little carpet patchy if you just sort of like motor over it with clippers. So yeah, that's the mustache. Once you've done that, you can just go in, clean up little bits of it. Also, a really, really important thing to keep in mind is, you see, I may be brushing it, but I'm never brushing it out. I'm always just sort of brushing with the way that it grows, because that's how I want to cut it. I want to cut the beard with the direction that it grows to like where the hair lives, as we call it. So now, hopefully, I won't get mustache in my drink. Cheers. All right. The next part we're going to play with, we're going to go into the sides from the temple down into the corner of the jaw. In this case, I'm going to brush that out a little bit. If you have a much shorter beard, or if you're trying to keep it a lot longer on the sides, just brush down. You don't want to cut too much hair right now, because right now we're going more for like a trim. This thing right here, this little trick right here, you can actually do no matter what length your beard is. You can do it kind of every day and every morning, because what we're trying to do is focus on cutting the hairs that are sticking out a little bit too much. So because I'm like significantly longer than I usually am, I got to kind of test out what length I'm going to play with here. The 4. So I'm going to start with a 5, which is longer than I'm going to need. I'll have to go shorter, but we're starting here at the top and just going all the way down, just completely vertically. Keeping it flat against the head, but not pressing and not applying much pressure. I really shouldn't be moving my head around as much as I am, but. So because I'm using a longer guard than I really am ultimately going for, I can be a little bit more liberal with sort of just taking some of this hair off. But I am kind of diagonally, like sort of crisscrossing it a little bit. So that's just because beard hair is kind of curly. Mine's actually remarkably straight. This is usually a lot easier on people with curlier beard textures. Okay. Ugh. 1 second. So that was a 5. You can see already, even if I were to leave it at that, that's a really nice sort of like clean-ish line for somebody with a longer beard. But I want to taper it in a little bit more and through here. I want my cheek areas. I want my face to be a little bit more narrow. So I'm gonna drop it down to a 4. Now I'm probably not gonna go all the way to my jawline this time. I'm just gonna kind of focus on what would be the sideburn area there. Again, flat against the head, completely flat against the head. That's one of the reasons why a clipper with guards is so important, because while a lot of the beard trimmers, you can adjust the lengths, there's things that we do with clippers and with these comb attachments, like reasons they're designed, that we can't do with some of these kind of all-in-one beard trimmers. Okay, I brought it in a little bit more now because I really want to get that much cleaner. We're gonna do something I call like a wrist pivot, I guess. This is where we're actually gonna use our teeth. We're gonna stand the teeth up right underneath our cheekbone. That's your starting point. And then you're gonna pivot, really with just your wrist. Ow. Really with just the wrist, you're gonna pivot like that. You're just gonna scoop it out. Right under the cheekbone. Scoop it out. As you do it, you can decide if you need to go a little bit lower to start. Sometimes I'll just sort of drag all the way up first and then scoop it out. Scoop it out. And you can go a little bit flatter in through here. Now you see the difference there? It's a much tighter, cleaner line than it is over here. Do the same thing. Ooh. Scoop it out. Walk the teeth up. Scoop it out. Nice. Get that. There we go. So you can see I'm very bulbous right here right now. But at least my face has a little bit more of that narrow sort of shape that I'm going for. So now we're gonna get a little bit of this off my neck really quick. We're not gonna be too, we're not gonna put in any line right now, like whatsoever. I just wanna get this chunk off my neck. And here's one trick that I feel like everybody should know. Pushing the trimmer will prevent you from creating any new solid lines. So for example, I have a hairy chest, obviously. If I don't want to create this weird solid line, all I gotta do is push the trimmer. Push the trimmer. Pushing it down, pushing it down. And you can see it cleans up your neckline, super red. Cleans up your neckline, but without creating any sort of lines that I just don't think look very great. So this next area, underneath the chin, from the throat forward, basically we want, first of all, what we don't want to see, I don't really have that problem because my chin is so long, but what we never really want to see is the neckline, either whether it's on the neck or the beard hair itself, coming below the chin. What that does is it gives you this sort of illusion that your face is bigger, lower than it actually is, because your beard line is showing down here, but what the face sees, or the eyes see, is the face looking like that. So that's the main thing that we're gonna focus on, is getting the neck to sit a bit higher. So I'm gonna start with a 5. Again, that's just based on the length of mine. If you have any questions, just start longer and keep going shorter. We're gonna do something similar, a little wrist pivot. And we're just scooping. So the only area that this comb attachment is even touching my face is here. And then it leaves the body. Leaves the body. And glides. Ideally, I would be doing this on somebody else, and I would literally be using an actual comb to do that. But nobody can actually do that on this, so I can't do that on myself. So, I mean, I'm doing this. This is how you want to do it at home. Just keep kind of scooping that area out. Once we've gotten there, now we're gonna actually focus and put in our line here. You can see I'm all sorts of jagged and wonky and shit, whatever. Mirror. So where you usually want your beard to start, whether it's longer or shorter, you want it to start in the apex where you actually have where the curve of your throat is, where your throat becomes a chin. Mine's going to be a little bit different because it's so much longer, but whether you have like scruff, stubble, whatever, like long scruff, that's usually how you're going to focus it. So we'll start there. Draw on a fairly straight line and then check it from the side. Here. My phone is in the way. You don't need to see that. That's about right. So we'll go ahead and clean up underneath this. Once we've gotten that, we are going to continue to clean up some of this line. It should be more or less fine since we just used the clippers and shortened the hair, but I tend to actually grow lower on this side. Relax your face. And just chisel that hair out. Take a step back. So I'm clearly very square and through here right now, which I do not appreciate. Ideally, on doing this on somebody else, I would literally just take a comb and fix that, but I can't do that on myself. Nobody can do that on themselves. It's difficult. When I do my own, I use scissors, so I'm gonna start with that. If you wanna try this, you can. If you have blade control. But I mean, I'm just kinda going through and chiseling away. See, this is one of the reasons why I don't usually recommend people do full-on beard trims on themselves, because I mean, I've been doing hair for 16 years and I know how to work with a pair of scissors upside down and backwards. Not everybody can do that. Another option though is to take the trimmers and just kind of chisel away. I mean, trimming a beard is just like sculpting. So you can do that. Put some of those. I'm going back to my scissors so I don't mess anything up here. You should absolutely always do this when you're drinking. Ordinarily, I would not comb against the growth pattern to do that, but that's the only way I can get these areas of my beard to lay down a bit. And another thing is, again, everybody's beard is different. Mine is remarkably straight, which is easier in some ways and a lot more difficult in others. See, I hate that right there. It's so much. It's just so much. So what I'm gonna do is just gonna use the teeth. Go with the hair. I'm not putting any pressure. I'm just letting it glide gently over the surface of the hair, allowing it to get some of that weight and bulbousness out of my fucking chin. And do the same thing in here. Do not put pressure. Oh my God, do not put pressure on the chin. You'll lose everything. Also, keep in mind your beard is gonna look completely different once you've washed it. I'm gonna get a little bit of these corners out. Don't be too freaked out if you have little corners right here because it looks completely different when your head is upright versus when you're like staring at it like this. But I'm gonna go ahead and take care of just a little bit. Now, see, here's the tricky part. So when it comes to your cheek lines, so I just naturally have these like flawless cheek lines. I don't know why. Like, you know what? I have other issues with my beard, but like, look at that. They're just perfect. Everybody should have like nine times out of 10. Everybody has some sort of apparent line in their cheek. Everybody always has kind of like outliers that sit above it. Just kind of look at it and try and follow its natural line. Do not try to create, unless you absolutely have to, do not try and create some like perfect shape or perfect line. Try and keep it as like biologically accurate as you can. And definitely don't do that thing where you carve like a corner, like don't cut like an L into it. I mean, unless you want to. I'm not here to judge anybody, but don't do that. Just really try to keep it with your natural growth shape. I mean, there's my beard. It'll look a lot better when it's all washed out, but like that little bit. That's another thing is don't overcut your beard. If anything, like if you're gonna do it if you're doing a big major cut on your own, cut it and then wash it and then let it dry and then come back and cut it again. Like just keep cutting it, but don't keep cutting it once, because your hair will just sort of stay however it dried. And if it dries out a much longer length, then I mean, it's gonna dry in a different way once you've cut like half an inch off of it. So like, you know, just be chill. Anyway, so that that was my beard video. 25 minutes, not bad. We'll see if I can edit it. I don't know. I don't edit videos. This is my job. But if I do, cool. Thanks for watching.